Each world develops its own apex predator. But Earth stands right here in this chamber. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with the familiar hum of universal translators working overtime. Representatives from across the known galaxy had gathered for the quarterly Xenobiology Symposium, their varied forms creating a kaleidoscope of scales, fur, chitin, and energy fields under the chamber's artificial lighting. Dr. Zixthara, the Valkyrian-led xenobiologist, adjusted her crystalline appendages as she addressed the assembly. Her species had cataloged predator hierarchies across 17 different worlds, and today's presentation was meant to be routine. The holographic display showed Earth, that peculiar blue-green marble in the Sol system that had recently produced the galaxy's most unexpected addition to the Council. Each world develops its own apex predator, Dr. Zixthar explained, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had spent centuries studying planetary ecosystems. On Valkar Prime, we have the Shadow Moths, 12-foot-tall hunters with adaptive camouflage and neural disruptors. On the ice world of Kethmer, the thermal predators can survive in conditions that would freeze most organic matter solid. The audience shifted with polite interest. The Thurkari delegate, resembling a cross between a praying mantis and a tank, clicked his mandibles approvingly. The gaseous Etherians pulsed with soft blues and greens, their equivalent of nodding. This brings us to Earth, Dr. Zixthar continued, the hologram zooming in on the planet's surface, a world of remarkable biodiversity, with several candidates for apex predator status. The great white shark, ruler of the oceans. The grizzly bear, master of the northern forests. The saltwater crocodile, an ambush predator unchanged for millions of years. Commander Voss of the Hegemony Defense Force leaned forward, his cybernetic eye whirring as it focused. Surely the large felines, lions, tigers, would be more appropriate candidates. Or perhaps the pack hunters like wolves, Dr. Zixthar's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been amusement. An interesting question, Commander. The diversity of potential apex predators on Earth is truly remarkable. However, I believe we should ask the expert. All eyes turned to the human representative, who had been sitting quietly in the Earth delegations section. Dr. Sarah Chen was unremarkable by galactic standards. No scales, no extra limbs, no natural weapons visible. She was of average height for her species, with dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and intelligent brown eyes that seemed to take in everything around her. Dr. Chen, Dr. Zixthar addressed her formally, your species has had the most intimate contact with Earth's ecosystem. In your professional opinion, what would you classify as your planet's apex predator? The chamber fell silent. This was meant to be a simple academic exercise, a way to catalog another world's dominant species for the ever-growing xenobiological database. Dr. Chen stood slowly, and something in her movement made several of the more predatory species in the audience unconsciously straighten. She didn't speak immediately. Instead, she smiled, a simple curve of her lips that somehow made the temperature in the chamber seem to drop several degrees. It wasn't a cruel smile, or even an unkind one. It was the smile of someone who knew something that others didn't. The smile of someone who had been waiting for exactly this question. Dr. Zixthara, she said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics, I appreciate the question. And I think I can give you a definitive answer. The silence stretched. Even the Etherians had stopped their gentle pulsing, their gaseous forms holding perfectly still in anticipation. Dr. Chen raised her hand, her simple, five-fingered, unclawed hand, and that smile never wavered. The apex predator of Earth, she said, her voice carrying the weight of 6 billion years of evolution, is standing right here in this chamber. The silence that followed Dr. Chen's statement was deafening. The universal translators seemed to stutter, as if the machines themselves were uncertain they had processed the words correctly. Commander Voss's cybernetic eye dimmed and brightened rapidly, a sure sign of his species' confusion. Dr. Zixthar's crystalline form flickered through several colors before settling on a deep amber, the Valkyrian equivalent of skepticism. Dr. Chen, I'm afraid there may be a translation error. Surely you don't mean to suggest that your species— I mean exactly what I said, Dr. Chen interrupted, her tone remaining conversational, but somehow carrying an edge that made several delegates shift uncomfortably. Homo sapiens, humans, we are Earth's apex predator, and we have been for approximately 200,000 years. The Thrakari delegate, General Clackth, let out a sound that the translator rendered as derisive laughter. His species had conquered 12 worlds through sheer military might, each individual standing 8 feet tall with natural armor plating and razor-sharp claws. With respect, Dr. Chen, your species appears to lack any significant predatory adaptations. No claws, no fangs, no natural weapons. Your bite force is pathetic compared to your own planet's crocodiles. Dr. Chen nodded thoughtfully. You're absolutely right about our physical limitations. General, we can't outrun a cheetah, we can't outswim a shark, and we certainly can't outfight a grizzly bear in single combat. She paused, that unsettling smile returning. But we don't need to. She gestured to the holographic display, which still showed Earth in all its blue-green glory. May I, Dr. Zixthara, clearly intrigued despite her skepticism, nodded. Dr. Chen approached the display controls with easy familiarity, another reminder that humans had adapted to galactic technology with unsettling speed. Let me show you what apex predation looks like when it's not limited by claws and fangs, Dr. Chen said, her fingers dancing over the holographic interface. The display shifted, showing a vast plain somewhere in Africa. This is the Serengeti, one of Earth's most famous ecosystems, home to lions, leopards, hyenas, wild dogs, all impressive predators by any measure. The image zoomed in, showing a pride of lions stalking a herd of wildebeest. The big cats moved with fluid grace, their muscles rippling under golden fur, their eyes locked on their prey with predatory focus. Beautiful, aren't they? Dr. Chen said. Apex predators in their own right. A single adult lion can take down prey weighing several times their own body weight. Their night vision is 8 times better than ours, their hearing is 5 times more acute, and their sense of smell is 40 times stronger. The assembled delegates murmured appreciatively. This was more like what they expected from a proper predator presentation. Now, Dr. Chen continued, let me show you what happened to these magnificent apex predators when they encountered humans. The display shifted again, showing a graph. The declining line was stark and unmistakable. 100 years ago, there were approximately 200,000 lions in Africa. Today, there are fewer than 20,000, a 90% reduction in population. Dr. Chen's voice remained steady, almost clinical. Tigers, from 100,000 to 3,900. Leopards, from 700,000 to 200,000. Shall I continue? The chamber had grown very quiet. Even the Etherians had condensed into tight, nervous formations. You see, Dr. Chen said, turning back to face the assembly, you're thinking about apex predation all wrong. You're thinking about it like a sporting event, who would win in a fair fight. But apex predation isn't about fair fights. It's about efficiency. It's about success. It's about who gets to decide the rules of the game. She clicked to the next display, showing a human settlement from above. We didn't outfight the lions. We didn't need to. We simply redefined what the battlefield looked like. Commander Voss leaned forward, his mechanical components whirring with interest. Dr. Chen, are you suggesting that your species achieved apex predator status through environmental manipulation? I'm suggesting we achieved it through intelligence, Dr. Chen replied. But let me be more specific. Let me tell you about the hunt. The holographic display shifted again, this time showing a prehistoric scene. Early humans, barely recognizable as the same species, moved across an ancient landscape. They looked primitive, almost fragile compared to the massive creatures around them. 60,000 years ago, my ancestors encountered the megafauna of their time. Mammoths weighing 15 tons, saber-toothed cats with fangs longer than your arm, cave bears that could crush a human skull with a casual swipe. Dr. Chen's voice took on an almost hypnotic quality. These were apex predators in every sense of the word. General Clake clicked his mandibles impatiently, and they drove your species to near extinction. Surely, no, Dr. Chen said simply, we drove them to actual extinction. The display zoomed in on a group of early humans surrounding a massive mammoth. The humans looked impossibly small next to the great beast, like insects attacking a mountain. Watch carefully, Dr. Chen said. This is what apex predation looks like when it's not limited by biology. The scene began to move, showing the humans working together with a coordination that seemed almost supernatural. They didn't charge the mammoth directly. Instead, they harassed it, jabbed at it with spears, used fire to drive it toward a cliff. The mammoth, for all its size and strength, was confused, disoriented. The mammoth is stronger than any individual human, Dr. Chen narrated. Faster, better armed, better armored, but it's fighting the wrong battle. It's trying to win through individual combat, while the humans are playing a completely different game. The holographic mammoth stumbled, driven by the coordinated human attack into a position where it couldn't use its advantages. The human struck as one, and the great beast fell. This is persistence hunting, Dr. Chen explained. We didn't need to be faster than our prey, we just needed to be smarter. We didn't need to be stronger, we just needed to be more coordinated. We didn't need natural weapons, we made better ones. Dr. Zixthar's crystalline form had shifted to a deep purple, the Valkyrian color of fascination tinged with unease. But surely this was limited to individual prey animals. Dr. Chen's smile widened. Oh, no, we scaled up. The display shifted to show a map of the world, with dates and statistics flowing across it, the Pleistocene extinction event. Approximately 50,000 years ago, as humans spread across the globe, 80% of all large mammal species went extinct. Not from climate change, from us. The numbers were staggering. Whole families of creatures, giant ground sloths, massive bears, enormous birds, all gone within a few thousand years of human contact. In Australia, we eliminated the megafauna within 2,000 years of arrival. In North America, it took about 1,000 years. In Europe, a bit longer because the animals had time to adapt, but the result was the same. Dr. Chen's voice carried a note of something that might have been pride, or might have been regret. We didn't just be individual apex predators. We restructured entire ecosystems. The Etherian delegate pulsed a sickly yellow. But this was genocide on a planetary scale. No, Dr. Chen corrected. This was lunch. The bluntness of the statement hit the chamber like a physical blow. Several delegates actually recoiled. You have to understand, Dr. Chen continued, her voice taking on an almost gentle tone, we weren't trying to dominate the planet, we were just trying to survive. But when your survival strategy is based on outthinking every other species, when your hunting method scales from individual prey to entire ecosystems, when your tools can be applied to any problem, well, the logical endpoint is inevitable. She gestured to the display, which now showed modern Earth. Cities covered the landscape like geometric fungi. Lights blazed from every continent, visible from space. We didn't set out to become apex predators. We set out to eat, to survive, to protect our children. But we did it so effectively that we accidentally conquered the world. General Clake's mandibles clicked in what the translator rendered as nervous laughter. Dr. Chen, your species' historical impact is ... impressive, but you're speaking of primitive humans with simple tools. Surely modern humans, with your civilization and technology, have moved beyond such predatory behavior. Dr. Chen's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes seemed to sharpen. General, you're making the same mistake everyone makes. You're assuming that civilization made us less predatory. It didn't. It made us more efficient. She turned back to the holographic display, which shifted to show a cross-section of human society. Transportation networks, communication systems, manufacturing centers, all connected in an intricate web of activity. What you're looking at isn't a civilization, Dr. Chen said quietly. It's a hunting network, the most sophisticated predatory system ever evolved. The display zoomed in on a human city, showing the flow of resources, food, materials, energy, all moving through the urban environment like blood through arteries. A traditional predator is limited by its individual capabilities. A lion can only hunt when it's hungry, can only kill what it can overpower, can only consume what it can eat. But we transcended those limitations millennia ago. The image shifted to show global trade routes, cargo ships and aircraft moving across the planet in endless streams. We hunt continuously, whether we're hungry or not. We kill more than we can possibly consume. We take resources from ecosystems thousands of miles away from where we live. Dr. Zixthara's crystalline form flickered rapidly. But this is simply resource management, not predation. Is it? Dr. Chen asked. Let me show you something. The display changed to show the global fishing industry. Massive factory ships swept through the oceans, their nets capable of scooping up entire schools of fish in a single pass. We've removed 90% of the large fish from Earth's oceans in the past 50 years, Dr. Chen said matter-of-factly. We're currently harvesting marine life at a rate that exceeds the ocean's ability to replenish itself by a factor of 4. We're not fishing, we're strip-mining the seas. The image shifted to show deforestation patterns, vast swaths of rainforest disappearing, replaced by agricultural land and urban development. The Amazon rainforest, one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on our planet, is being cleared at a rate of 7,000 square kilometers per year. Not for immediate survival needs, but to create grazing land for cattle that will be consumed by humans. On the other side of the planet, Commander Voss's cybernetic eye whirred as it processed the information. But surely this level of resource extraction is unsustainable. Your species must realize it's damaging your own environment. Dr. Chen nodded. We do realize it. We've known for decades. But here's the thing about apex predators. They don't stop hunting just because prey is becoming scarce. They hunt until there's nothing left to hunt. She clicked to the next display, showing atmospheric carbon levels over the past 2 centuries. The curve was stark and unmistakable, a dramatic spike coinciding with human industrial development. We're literally changing the chemistry of our planet's atmosphere as a side effect of our resource extraction. We're causing a mass extinction event that rivals the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. And we're doing it in the span of a few centuries instead of a few million years. The chamber was dead silent. Even the gentle hum of the universal translators seemed muted. But here's what you need to understand, Dr. Chen continued, her voice carrying an almost hypnotic quality. We're not doing this out of malice. We're not evil. We're just very, very good at what we do. She turned to face the assembly directly, and several delegates instinctively shrank back. Every species hunts. Every species competes for resources. Every species tries to survive and reproduce. But most species are limited by their biology, their environment, their individual capabilities. We removed those limitations. We turned hunting into a science. We turned competition into a system. We turned survival into an art form. The display shifted to show human cities at night, blazing with light against the darkness. We don't just hunt animals. We hunt energy. We hunt materials. We hunt space itself. We've turned the entire planet into our hunting ground, and we're so efficient at it that we're already looking beyond our world for new prey. Dr. Zixthara's form had shifted to a deep red, the Valkyrian color of alarm. Dr. Chen, are you suggesting that your species views other worlds as ... hunting grounds? Dr. Chen's smile returned, and this time it was definitely not reassuring. Dr. Zixthara, why do you think we wanted to join the Galactic Council? The question hung in the air like A toxic cloud. The assembled delegates began to shift uncomfortably, and several had begun subtle movements toward the chamber's exits. Dr. Chen noticed, and her smile widened. "Please, don't leave on my account," she said, her tone conversational, but somehow carrying an undercurrent that made even the heavily armored Drakari pause. "I think you'll find the rest of this presentation quite illuminating." Dr. Zixthar's crystalline form was now cycling rapidly through colors, unable to settle on a single emotional state. "Dr. Chen, I think perhaps we should adjourn this session. The council can reconvene when." "When what?" Dr. Chen interrupted. "When you've had time to discuss the human problem in private. When you've had time to decide whether we represent a threat to galactic stability." She laughed, a sound that somehow managed to be both genuine and deeply unsettling. "I appreciate the sentiment, but I think you're misunderstanding the situation." She gestured to the holographic display, which shifted to show the Sol system. Earth sat at its center, a blue-green dot surrounded by the orbital infrastructure that had taken humanity less than a century to construct. "You wanted to know about Earth's apex predator," Dr. Chen said. "Let me tell you what apex predation looks like when it's not limited by a single planet." The display zoomed in on Earth's orbital space, revealing a network of stations, satellites, and manufacturing facilities that encircled the planet like a mechanical shell. "We achieved space flight 50 years after we achieved powered flight. We went from our first orbital satellite to permanent space stations in 20 years. We established a self-sustaining lunar colony in 30 years. Commander Voss's cybernetic components were whirring constantly now, processing the implications. The speed of your technological advancement is ... unusual, is it?" Dr. Chen asked. "Or is it exactly what you'd expect from a species that spent 200,000 years optimizing its hunting strategies? We don't just adapt to new environments, we remake them to suit our needs." The display shifted to show Mars, where the distinctive geometric patterns of human terraforming equipment were already visible on the planet's surface. "We've been working on Mars for 15 years. Conservative estimates say we'll have a breathable atmosphere within 50 years. We're not just visiting other worlds, we're converting them." Dr. Zixthar managed to stabilize her form into a deep blue, the Valkyrian color of deep concern. "Dr. Chen, the Council has strict protocols about terraforming. The environmental impact assessments alone are designed for species that terraform slowly, carefully, with respect for existing ecosystems." Dr. Chen finished. "We don't terraform like that. We terraform like we hunt, efficiently, completely, and with absolute commitment to the outcome." The display shifted to show Jupiter's moons, where massive mining operations were already extracting resources at an unprecedented rate. Europa's ice is being converted to fuel and water. Ganymede's minerals are being processed into construction materials. Io's volcanic activity is being harvested for geothermal energy. "We're not just exploring the outer system, we're consuming it." The silence in the chamber was now absolute. Even the Etherians had condensed into tight, fearful formations. "But here's what you really need to understand," Dr. Chen continued, her voice taking on an almost gentle tone. "We're not expanding into space because we're explorers. We're not doing it for science, or adventure, or the betterment of galactic civilization. We're doing it for the same reason we've done everything else for the past 200,000 years." She turned to face the assembly directly, and her smile was now genuinely warm, which somehow made it even more terrifying. "We're still hunting. We're still competing. We're still trying to survive and reproduce. But now our hunting ground, the entire galaxy." General Clakeith had been quiet for several minutes, his mandibles clicking at the translator recognized as deep thought. When he finally spoke, his voice carried a note of something that might have been respect, or might have been fear. "Dr. Chen, are you telling us that humanity views the galaxy as?" Pray Dr. Chen considered the question carefully. "General, I think you're still thinking about this wrong. We don't view the galaxy as prey, We view it as habitat. The prey is everything that lives in it. The words hit the chamber like a physical blow. Several delegates made sounds of distress, and the Etherian representative actually flickered and dimmed as if considering whether to remain corporeal. But Dr. Chen continued, and there was something almost kind in her voice. That doesn't mean we want to eat you. The relief that flooded the chamber was palpable, but it was short-lived. After all, Dr. Chen said, that unsettling smile returning, we learned a long time ago that the best predators don't just hunt their prey. They manage it. The implications of Dr. Chen's last statement settled over the chamber like a heavy blanket. Dr. Zixthar's crystalline form had gone completely transparent, a Valkyrian stress response that hadn't been seen in the council chambers for centuries. Dr. Chen, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, what exactly are you proposing? Dr. Chen's expression softened slightly, taking on the patient look of a teacher explaining a complex concept to confused students. I'm not proposing anything. I'm simply explaining what's already happening. She gestured to the holographic display, which shifted to show a star map of the local galactic region. Human settlements and outposts were marked in blue, spreading outward from the Sol system in an expanding sphere. You've been wondering why humans adapted to galactic technology so quickly, Dr. Chen said. Why we were able to integrate with council systems in a matter of years rather than decades. Why our trade relationships became so profitable so rapidly. The display zoomed in on specific systems, showing the intricate network of human commercial and diplomatic relationships that had developed with startling speed. We didn't adapt to your technology, Dr. Chen said simply. We reverse-engineered it, improved it, and started manufacturing our own versions within 6 months of first contact. Commander Voss's cybernetic eye flickered. That's not possible. Our technology is based on principles that took my species millennia to develop. Your species, Dr. Chen replied, develop technology the way most species do, slowly, carefully, building on existing knowledge over many generations. We developed it the way we do everything else, by treating it as a hunting problem. The display shifted to show a human research facility where teams of scientists worked with an intensity that bordered on obsession. We didn't try to understand your technology, we dissected it. We didn't try to learn your principles, we found better ones. We didn't try to integrate with your systems, we replaced them. Dr. Zixthar's form was flickering rapidly now, but the trade agreements, the diplomatic protocols, are exactly what they appear to be, Dr. Chen said. Legitimate, beneficial relationships that serve everyone's interests. We're not trying to deceive you or manipulate you, we're simply optimizing the relationship. She clicked to the next display, showing trade flow between human space and the rest of the galaxy. The numbers were staggering. In just a few years, human commerce had become integral to dozens of star systems. We learned long ago that the most successful predators don't just take what they need, Dr. Chen explained. They create systems that produce what they need. We don't hunt sheep. We domesticate them and let them reproduce. We don't hunt wild grain. We cultivate it and improve the yield. The word domesticate seemed to echo in the chamber's acoustics, taking on ominous overtones. We're not your enemies, Dr. Chen continued. We're your partners. We're going to help you become more prosperous, more secure, more successful than you ever imagined possible. Your worlds will be safer. Your trade will be more profitable. Your technology will advance at unprecedented rates. General Clake's mandibles clicked nervously. And in return, you'll do what domesticated species have always done. Dr. Chen replied, you'll thrive under our protection. You'll produce resources that benefit everyone. You'll help us maintain the stability and prosperity of our shared galactic community. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Dr. Zixthara spoke, her voice barely audible, and if we refuse. Dr. Chen's smile faded, and for a moment, the assembled delegates saw something in her eyes that reminded them exactly what they were dealing with. It wasn't anger or threat. It was the patient, inevitable gaze of a predator watching prey that didn't yet understand the situation. Dr. Zixthara, she said softly, has any species in the history of Earth ever successfully refused domestication by humans? The question hung in the air like a death sentence. The delegates began to understand that this wasn't a negotiation or a threat. It was simply an explanation of what was already happening. The beautiful thing about our approach, Dr. Chen continued, her voice returning to its conversational tone, is that it benefits everyone. Your species will be more successful under human guidance than you ever were independently. Your populations will grow, your technology will advance, your worlds will prosper. She gestured to the display, which now showed projected growth curves for various galactic civilizations under human partnership. The numbers were impressive: economic growth, technological advancement, population expansion, all trending dramatically upward. We're very good at this, Dr. Chen said, and there was genuine pride in her voice. We've been practicing for 10,000 years. We turned wolves into dogs, and now there are more dogs than wolves could ever have dreamed of being. We turned wild grasses into wheat, and now wheat covers more of Earth's surface than any wild plant ever did. The implications were staggering. The delegates were beginning to understand that they weren't just dealing with another species, they were dealing with a form of intelligence that had spent millennia perfecting the art of symbiotic domination. But here's what I want you to understand, Dr. Chen said, her voice taking on an almost gentle tone. We don't want to harm you, we don't want to diminish you. We want to help you become the best version of what you can be. She paused, looking around the chamber at the assembled delegates. We want to help you thrive, we want to help you grow. We want to help you succeed beyond your wildest dreams. The smile returned, warm and genuine and absolutely terrifying. After all, she said, healthy livestock is profitable livestock. The silence that followed was deafening. Dr. Chen stood calmly at the center of the chamber, her hands clasped behind her back, waiting patiently for the implications of her words to sink in. Around her, the greatest minds in the galaxy struggled to process what they had just heard. Dr. Zixthara was the first to speak, her crystalline form now a deep, pulsing red. Dr. Chen, you're describing a form of galactic colonization, subjugation on an unprecedented scale. I'm describing partnership, Dr. Chen corrected gently. Mutually beneficial relationships that serve everyone's interests. The fact that we're the senior partner doesn't change the fundamental nature of the arrangement. Commander Voss's cybernetic components were working overtime, processing scenarios and outcomes. And if a species chooses not to enter into this partnership, Dr. Chen's expression remained pleasant, but her eyes took on that patient, predatory gleam again. Commander, in the history of human expansion, how many species have successfully maintained their independence through isolation? She gestured to the holographic display, which showed Earth's timeline over the past few centuries. The Aboriginal Australians tried isolation. The various Native American tribes tried isolation. The mountain peoples of Tibet tried isolation. The remote island cultures of the Pacific tried isolation. The display showed the inevitable result in each case: absorption, transformation, or extinction. Isolation doesn't work, Dr. Chen said simply. Not when you're dealing with a species that views the entire galaxy as its habitat. You can't hide from something that's everywhere. General Clake's mandibles clicked rapidly. Then you're saying we have no choice at all? Of course you have a choice, Dr. Chen replied, sounding almost offended. You can choose to be partners, or you can choose to be competitors. You can choose to thrive under our guidance, or you can choose to compete with us for resources and territory. The display shifted to show comparative military capabilities. The numbers were sobering. Human military technology had advanced at a rate that defied explanation, reaching parity with civilizations that had been spacefaring for millennia. We've been expanding into space for less than a century, Dr. Chen noted. In that time, we've developed faster than light communication, antimatter propulsion, and defensive systems that your own military analysts have classified as concerning. We've done this while maintaining peaceful relations with all our neighbors. She paused, letting the implication sink in. Imagine what we could accomplish if we felt threatened. Dr. Zixthar's form flickered rapidly. Dr. Chen, are you threatening the council? I'm explaining options. Dr. Chen replied. Partnership offers prosperity, growth, and security for everyone involved. Competition offers. Well, let's just say that apex predators don't generally lose competitive scenarios. The Etherean delegate pulsed a sickly yellow. But surely the council as a whole could coordinate a response. Could you? Dr. Chen interrupted. Let me ask you something. How many council species have humans approached with exclusive trade agreements in the past year? How many have accepted human advisors to help with technological development? How many have signed mutual defense pacts with human space? The delegates began to look around the chamber with growing unease. The realization was dawning that humans hadn't just been making friends, they had been systematically creating dependencies. The Thurkari military uses human-designed targeting systems. Dr. Chen continued conversationally. The Valkyrian mining operations rely on human-manufactured equipment. The Etherean energy grid is powered by human fusion technology. The Zirif agricultural systems use human-developed genetic modifications. Each statement hit the chamber like a physical blow. The delegates were beginning to understand that resistance wasn't just futile. It was already impossible. We're not conquerors, Dr. Chen said, her voice taking on that gentle, patient tone again. We're partners. We're here to help you become more successful, more prosperous, more secure than you ever imagined possible. She walked slowly around the chamber, and her presence seemed to fill the space in a way that defied physical explanation. Your children will grow up in a galaxy where hunger is obsolete, where disease is conquered, where the resources of 1,000 worlds are available to everyone who contributes to the common good. The vision she painted was seductive, almost hypnotic. Your scientists will have access to research facilities that span star systems. Your artists will have audiences across the galaxy. Your philosophers will grapple with questions that span multiple species and civilizations. Dr. Zixthar's form had stabilized into a deep blue, the color of reluctant fascination. And the cost is simple, Dr. Chen replied. You acknowledge that humans are the senior species in this relationship. You accept our guidance on matters of galactic policy. You allow us to optimize your systems for maximum efficiency and prosperity. She paused, looking directly at each delegate. In turn, you let us take care of the big decisions while you focus on what you do best. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then Commander Voss spoke, his voice carrying the weight of inevitable defeat. How long do we have to decide? Dr. Chen's smile returned, warm and genuine and absolutely final. Commander, you're still thinking about this as if it's a future decision. The choice has already been made. We're simply explaining what's already happening. She gestured to the holographic display one final time. It showed the current state of the galaxy, human influence spreading like a gentle web through every major system, every important trade route, every strategic resource. The age of human partnership has already begun, Dr. Chen said. The only question now is whether you're going to be part of it willingly, or whether you're going to resist until you understand that resistance is pointless. She walked back to her position at the center of the chamber, her hands clasped behind her back, waiting patiently for the next question. After all, she said, that unsettling smile never wavering, we have all the time in the world. 6 months after the symposium, the Galactic Council chambers had been renovated. The seating arrangement had been subtly altered to reflect new realities. The human delegation now sat at the center, with other species arranged in concentric circles around them. The changes had been presented as improvements to acoustics and sight lines, but everyone understood the real message. Dr. Chen stood at the central podium, delivering the quarterly progress report to the assembled delegates. Her tone was professional, even warm, as she outlined the remarkable improvements in galactic prosperity since the implementation of the partnership protocol. Trade volume is up 347% across all major shipping routes, she announced, her voice carrying the satisfaction of a job well done. Agricultural output has increased by 428% in systems that have adopted human farming techniques. Military conflicts have decreased by 89% in regions under human peacekeeping oversight. The statistics were impressive, undeniably so. The delegates listened with expressions that ranged from resignation to genuine appreciation. It was hard to argue with results, even when those results came with strings attached. Dr. Zexthara, now serving as the Council's new Deputy Administrator for Interspecies Relations, raised a crystalline appendage. Her form had settled into a permanent pale blue, the Valkyrian color of resigned acceptance. Dr. Chen, the Andorian Mining Consortium, has requested permission to expand their operations into the Kepler 442 system. The environmental impact studies have been reviewed and approved. Dr. Chen interrupted gently. The expansion will proceed under human supervision with full environmental safeguards in place. The Androians will see a 67% increase in mineral extraction efficiency, while the local ecosystem will actually benefit from our terraforming techniques. She clicked to the next display, showing the proposed mining operation. The design was elegant, efficient, and completely transformed the system from a collection of barren rocks into a thriving industrial complex that somehow enhanced rather than destroyed the natural beauty of the region. This is what partnership looks like, Dr. Chen continued. Not exploitation, not domination, but optimization. We help you become the best version of what you can be. Commander Voss, now serving as the Council's military liaison, nodded approvingly. His cybernetic components had been upgraded with human technology, making him faster, stronger, and more capable than ever before. The integration of human tactical systems with hegemony defense force protocols has exceeded all projections. Our peacekeeping effectiveness has improved by 340%, and conflict resolution time has decreased by 78%. Dr. Chen added with a smile. Amazing what can be accomplished when everyone is working toward the same goals. General Clake H., whose species had initially been the most resistant to human partnership, now served as the Council's resource allocation coordinator. His mandibles clicked in what had become a familiar pattern of grudging satisfaction. The Thurkari Collective has voted to formally request human assistance in optimizing our population distribution. The preliminary studies suggest we could support 23% more individuals while actually reducing resource consumption. Excellent, Dr. Chen replied. We'll have a team of specialists ready to begin the optimization process within the month. The Thurkari have always been innovators. Now you'll have the tools to truly excel. The meeting continued with similar reports from across the galaxy. Each species had found its niche within the new order. Each had discovered ways to thrive under human guidance that they had never imagined possible. The Etherians had become master energy coordinators, their gaseous forms perfect for managing the complex power grids that now span star systems. The Zerif had embraced their role as master agriculturalists, using human-enhanced genetic techniques to create crops that could feed billions. The Valkyrians had become the galaxy's premier mining engineers, their crystalline bodies ideal for working in the harsh environments of asteroid fields and gas-giant atmospheres. Everyone had found their place. Everyone was prosperous. Everyone was safe. Everyone was exactly where humans wanted them to be. As the meeting concluded, Dr. Chen remained at the podium while the delegates filed out to return to their respective responsibilities. Dr. Zexthara lingered, her crystalline form pulsing with a question she seemed reluctant to ask. Dr. Chen, she said finally, may I ask you something? Of course, Dr. Chen replied, her tone genuinely warm. What's on your mind? Do you ever... Dr. Zexthara paused, searching for the right words. Do you ever feel any guilt about what your species has done? About the way you single quotes manage the rest of us? Dr. Chen considered the question seriously, her expression thoughtful. Dr. Zixthara, do you feel guilty about the way your species manages its crystal gardens, about the way you prune and shape, and nurture them to grow in the most beautiful and efficient patterns possible? Of course not, Dr. Zixthara replied, confused. The gardens benefit from our care. They grow larger and more beautiful than they ever could in the wild. Exactly, Dr. Chen said with a gentle smile. We don't feel guilt about helping you become the best version of yourselves. We feel pride in what we've accomplished together. Dr. Zixthara's form flickered through several colors before settling on a pale yellow, the Valkyrian color of understanding tinged with melancholy. I suppose that makes sense. Besides, Dr. Chen added, guilt is a luxury that apex predators can't afford. We have too many people depending on us to make the right decisions. As Dr. Zixthara left the chamber, Dr. Chen remained alone at the podium, looking out at the empty seats that had once held the representatives of truly independent civilizations. The transformation had been remarkably smooth, she reflected, smoother than even the most optimistic projections had suggested. But then, humans had always been good at understanding motivation. They had always been good at finding ways to make their prey want to be caught. Her communicator chimed softly, and she smiled as she read the message. The exploration fleets had made contact with 3 new civilizations in the Andromeda Galaxy. First contact protocols were proceeding smoothly, with the new species showing remarkable interest in human technology and trade opportunities. Dr. Chen closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the satisfaction of a job well done. The galaxy was peaceful, prosperous, and secure. Every species was thriving in its own way, contributing to the greater good according to its abilities and nature. It was exactly what her ancestors had dreamed of when they first looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. She gathered her materials and headed toward the exit, her footsteps echoing in the empty chamber. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new species to meet and understand and help find their place in the grand design. After all, the universe was vast, and there was still, though, much work to be done. As she reached the chamber doors, Dr. Chen paused and looked back one final time at the circular arrangement of seats, at the subtle but unmistakable hierarchy they represented. She smiled, the same warm, patient, utterly confident smile she had worn during that first symposium, the smile of Earth's apex predator, perfectly content in her natural habitat, the smile of someone who had always known exactly how this story would end. This script explores the concept of humanity as an apex predator through the lens of intelligence, cooperation, and systematic optimization rather than individual physical prowess. The narrative suggests that our greatest evolutionary advantage is our strength or speed, but our ability to think systemically about problems and scale solutions across entire ecosystems, and eventually, entire galaxies. The story is designed to be both unsettling and thought-provoking, asking readers to consider whether our own history of environmental management, animal domestication, and technological development might be seen as predatory behavior by other species, even when the outcomes are beneficial to those being managed. The HFY humanity, genre typically celebrates human exceptionalism, but this story does so through a darker lens, suggesting that our exceptionalism might be both a blessing and a curse for ourselves and for anyone else who might encounter us among the stars.